Hi friends, Juan the Yarn Addict here with another stitch pattern tutorial. Today I offer you the chevron stitch done 3 different ways. So today we are going to start with the simple chevron tutorial. After that, we're going to jump to the moss stitch chevron tutorial. And last but not least, we're going to jump into the peephole chevron stitch tutorial. All 3 tutorials in one video. I will offer timestamps in the show notes so that you can access the tutorial of your choice. And also, I will make sure that stitch counts and all the details are in the show notes as well. You can work these chevrons up into any weight of yarn. Just be sure to use the recommended hook size for the yarn of your choice. If you enjoy stitch pattern tutorials and tutorials in general, please check out the playlists on my channel. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to hit the like button or maybe leave a comment or two. I would definitely appreciate the support. So without further ado, let's jump right into the tutorials. Okay, so we're going to start with the simple chevron stitch. And to begin, what we need to do is create a slip knot on our hook. However you do this is absolutely fine. This is how I do it. And so the simple chevron works up in multiples of 10. So for the purposes of this tutorial, I'm going to chain 20, but feel free to chain as many multiples of 10 as you need for your project. So I'm going to continue chaining until I get to my desired chain length, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I have a multiple of 10. In total, I have 20 chains. So from here, I'm going to chain 1, and then I'm going to chain 3 more for the starting chain here. Okay, so multiples of 10 plus 1 plus 3. So from here, what we're going to do is skip the first 3 chains. Now these 3 chains will count as a double crochet. So in the 4th chain, we're going to insert a double crochet. So we're going to yarn over, go into the chain, draw up a loop, yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, go through 2, just like that. So as of right now, we have 2 stitches. From here, we're going to go into the next 3 stitches with a double crochet. So there's 1, here's 2, and here is 3. Okay, so after we have inserted 3 standalone doubles, we're going to work a double crochet 3 together in the next 3 chains. So we're going to do a stitch in all 3 and then combine them at the top. So we are in what is called the valley. Okay, so to do this, we're going to yarn over, go into the next chain, draw up a loop, yarn over, go through 2 only. We're going to leave those loops on the hook, and we're going to do that 2 more times. Yarn over, go into the chain, draw up a loop, yarn over, go through 2 only. We're going to do that 1 more time. Yarn over, go in the chain, draw up a loop, yarn over, go through 2 only. You should have 4 loops on the hook. You're going to yarn over and go through all 4 loops and move on. So that again is the valley. It's the bottom dip. And from here, we are going to go into the next 3 chains with a double crochet in each one. So let's go ahead and do that. There's 1. There's 2. And here is 3. Okay, so now we are at the peak. We are at the top part. So at the top, in the next chain, we are going to insert 3 double crochets all in 1 chain here. So let's go ahead and insert the first one. And then we're going to go back into that same chain with 2 more. There's 1. And there's 2. So there is what we have so far. Okay, so we're at the peak and we're heading down to another valley. So once we have 3 doubles in 1 chain, we're going to go into the next 3 chains with 1 double crochet each. So let's go ahead and do that. 1 double crochet in each of the next 3 chains. 1, 2, and 3. Now we are in a valley. So in the valley, we are going to collect our stitches. We're going to go into the next 3 chains and combine them into 1 stitch. So a double crochet 3 together. So yarn over, go into the chain, draw up a loop, yarn over, go through 2 only, and we're going to do that 2 more times. Yarn over, go in, draw up a loop, yarn over, go through 2 only. There's 2. Yarn over, go into the next chain, draw up a loop, yarn over, go through 2 only. So you have 3 stitches there, 4 loops on the hook, yarn over, and go through all 4 loops, just like that. So we are in a valley. So from here, we're going to go back up. So you should have 4 chains left, which that's exactly what we have. So in the next 3 chains, we are going to insert 1 double crochet in the next 3 chains, 1 each. So let's go ahead and do that. There's 1 double. Here is another one in the next chain. And then in the following chain, 1 double crochet. And in that last chain, we are going to insert 2 double crochets. 1 and 2. So there you have it. We have a peak, a valley, a peak, a valley, and a peak. So from here, we're going to continue this. So from here, what we need to do is chain 3. So at the end of every row, you are going to always chain 3, and that chain 3 will always count as a double crochet. From here, we're going to turn our work over, and we're going to go into the very first stitch with a double crochet. Just like that. From here, we're going to go into the next 3 stitches with 1 double crochet in each of the next 3 stitches. Let's go ahead and do that. It's 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so that was a peak. We're coming down to the valley here, and in the valley we collect our stitches. So we are going to go into the next 3 stitches and do a double crochet 3 together. Yarn over, go into that first stitch, draw up a loop, yarn over, go through 2. Do the same thing for the next 2 stitches here. Yarn over, go into the next stitch, draw up a loop, yarn over, go through 2 only. We're going to do that 1 more time. Just like that. You should have 4 loops on the hook. We're going to yarn over and go through all 4 loops. And from here, we're going to move on by going into the next 3 stitches with 1 double crochet in each stitch. Let's go ahead and do that. 1 double, 2 doubles, and 3 doubles. Just like that. From here, we're going to go into the next stitch. We are at a peak. So at the peak, we're going to go with 3 double crochets all in the same stitch, just like we did down below here. So let me pinch. There is the 3 double crochets in the chain. And in that middle stitch of the 3, as you can see, we're at the peak. We're going to insert 3 double crochets in that stitch. Here's 1. There's 2, and there's 3. Okay, so we're coming down to the valley. So after the peak, the 3 doubles in the same stitch. In the next 3 stitches, 1 double crochet in each. There's 1. There's 2. And there's 3. So in the valley, we're collecting stitches. We're going to do a double crochet 3 together. Yarn over, go in, draw up a loop. Yarn over, go through 2, and we're going to do that 2 more times. You should have 4 loops on the hook. Yarn over and go through all 4. From here, we're going to go into the next 3 stitches with 1 double crochet in each stitch. 1, 2, and 3. And as we've done back here in the last row, we're going to go ahead and go into that chain space with 2 double crochets. 1 and 2. So let's lay this flat, and there you have it. Okay, so just for good measure, I'm going to go back across with you guys one more time, and then I'm going to show you a swatch with multiple rows completed. Okay, so this pattern is exactly the same, back and forth, back and forth. It is very easy once you get the hang of it. Just remember, in the valleys you collect your stitches, and then in the peaks you give them away. So here we go. We're going to chain 3, and as I mentioned before, the chain 3 does count as a double crochet. We're going to turn our work, and we're going to go into that very first stitch with a double crochet, just like that. In the next 3 stitches, see, we're coming down into a valley, so after we complete this, we're going to go into the next 3 stitches with 1 double crochet in each of the next 3 stitches. 1, 2, and 3. Now in the valley, we collect our stitches, a double crochet 3 together. That middle stitch should be the former double crochet 3 together from the previous row. That's how you know you're right on point. It should be right there in the middle. So yarn over, go ahead and collect. Yarn over, go in, draw up a loop. Yarn over, go through 2 only. So you're collecting your stitches. Yarn over, go into the next one. Yarn over, go through 2. You should have 4 loops on your hook. Yarn over and go through all 4. Just like that. So after you've collected your stitches, you're going to go into the next 3 stitches with 1 double each. 1, 2, and 3. And you should be at the middle of the 3 from the previous row, which we are. So in that stitch, we are at the peak, so you're going to give your stitches, you're going to give that 1 stitch 3 doubles. Just like that. From here, we're going to go into the next 3 stitches with 1 double crochet each. 1, 2, and 3. So now we're in a valley. In the valley, we collect our stitches, and in the middle of that valley, we should have the former double crochet 3 together, but we're going to grab the one before it, 1 in the middle, and the 1 after it. Let's go ahead and do that. You should have 4 loops on your hook. Yarn over, go through all 4, and go into the next 3 with 1 double each. 1, 2, and 3. And last but not least, in the chain space, 2 double crochets. 1 and 2. Let's make a bunny ear. And so there you have it. That is a simple chevron using double crochets. Okay, so I have a swatch here, much larger. This is 10 rows completed, and as you can see, straight edges, very, very nice. And this here is 20 across. It is multiples of 10. It's very, very easy. Just remember multiples of 10 plus 1 plus 3. And if you have to replay this tutorial to get it, by all means, please go ahead and do that. So there is the simple chevron stitch. There you go. Okay, so for this next chevron, we will be working up the moss stitch chevron, and this also works up into multiples of 10. So to get started, what we need to do is create a slip knot on our hook. However you do this is absolutely fine. This is how I do it. Once you have your slip knot, we are going to chain multiples of 10. So for the purposes of this tutorial, I will be chaining a total of 20. So just do any multiple of 10. I am going to be doing 20, and once I have my 20, I will be right back. Okay, so once you have your multiple of 10, from here, what we need to do is chain 2 more, and now we may begin. So to start, what we need to do is go into the 3rd chain from the hook with a single crochet. Go in, draw a loop, yarn over, and go through 2. From here, we are going to chain 1, skip 1, and go into the next stitch with a single crochet. From here, we are going to chain 1, skip 1, and go into the next stitch with a single crochet. And so we have 3 single crochets with chains in between. From here, we are going to create our peak. So it will look like that in just a second. So from here, we are going to chain 2, and we're going to go into that same chain with a single crochet. Just like that. From here, we are going to chain 1 and skip 1 and go into the next chain with a single crochet. From here, we are going to chain 1, skip 1, and go into the next one with a single crochet. So there is our peak. Now we are going to create our valley. So from here, we are going to skip the next 2 chains and go into the 3rd chain with a single crochet. Just like that. From here, we are going to chain 1, skip the next chain, go into the following one with a single crochet. From here, we are going to chain 1, skip 1, go into the next one with a single crochet. We are now going to create another peak. So what we need to do is chain 2 and go back into that same chain with a single crochet. And there is our peak. From here, we are going to chain 1, skip 1, go into the next stitch with a single crochet. And finally, we have 2 chains left. We are going to chain 1 and go into the last chain with a single crochet. So let's go ahead and lay this flat, and there you have it. We have 2 peaks and 3 valleys. Okay, so that concludes row number 1. So from here, what we need to do is chain 2 and turn our work. So from here, we are going to work only in the chain spaces. So we are going to insert a single crochet, chain 1, single crochet in that fashion along the side. So to begin, we are going to go right into our chain space right here with a single crochet. Chain 1, go into the next chain space with a single crochet. Chain 1, and now we're going to work into the peak right there at the top. In the peak, we are going to insert a single crochet chain 2, single crochet, and there's the peak. From here we are going to chain 1 and go right into the chain space with a single crochet, chain 1, go right into the chain space with a single crochet. So now that we have 3 single crochets in a row, we are going to create our valley. So to create the valley, what we need to do is jump right over to the next chain space on the other side of our valley. We're going to insert our hook without chaining. We're going to go right in, draw a loop, yarn over, and go through 2. Just like that. No chains. So we're going to chain 1, go into the next chain space with a single crochet, chain 1, and now we're in the peak. So let's go into the peak with a single, chain 2, and a single. So we are wrapping up the side here. So we're going to chain 1, go right into the next space with a single, chain 1, go into the next space with a single, and there you have it. So to keep the sides flush, what we need to do is from here, go right into the chain space, draw a loop and slip, just like that, chain 2, and turn our work. Just like that. And so from here, what we need to do is jump over this first stitch and go right into that chain space. So you're not going to go into any spaces on this side of the single crochet. You're going to take your hook and go right into the chain space right there. So go right in, single crochet, chain 1, go into your next space with a single, chain 1, and now you're in the apex. Single crochet, chain 2, single crochet. A general rule of thumb for this particular stitch count is you're going to have 3 single crochets, and that's pretty much the constant. Single, chain, single, chain, single, and then a chain 2 at the top here. Okay, so you have a single crochet, chain 1, let's insert another single, chain 1, and then another single. So you have your 3 singles, and since you're in a valley, there is no chain. You're going to jump to the other side of your valley right here and go right into that chain space with a single. You're pinching it together. Okay, from here you're going to chain 1, go into the next space. If you have to finger it to find it, just go ahead and do that. Go right in with a single, chain 1, and now you're at your peak because you had 1 single here, 1 single here, and now you're at your peak. Single crochet, chain 2, single crochet. So we're coming down to the end of the side here. We already have our first single, so we're going to chain 1, go into the next space for our second single, chain 1, and here is the last space for our third single. So once you have your third single, we're just going to bring up the side to make it flush. So to do that, we're going to go right into that chain space right there, go in, draw a loop and slip to close, chain 2, and turn our work. And remember to go into the space between the singles, not over here. So from here, you're going to jump right into that space with a single. And as you can see, it's going to make your sides very flush. So single, chain 1, and single in the next space, chain 1, and now you're already at the apex, the peak. Okay, so we're going to go into the peak with a single, chain 2, and a single. It's very, very easy, very repetitive. Okay, so I'm going to finish this row here, and then I'm going to show you a swatch where we have over 20 rows completed. So there's that. We have our first stitch after the peak there. So chain 1, go into the next space right there after that single with a single, chain 1. So there's 2 singles. Now we're going to go into the next space here for our third single. And since we're in the valley, there is no chain. So we're going to jump to the other side of the valley here and look for that space right after the single. Go in, draw up a loop, do a single crochet, chain 1, go into the next space, single crochet, chain 1, and now we are at the apex. We're at the peak. Go in, single crochet, chain 2, go back in, single crochet. Okay. So we have our first stitch of the side. Let's go ahead and chain 1, go into the next space, single, chain 1, go into the next space, single, and from here we are going to pick up this chain space down here at the end. As you can see, there's a single here. Just go right into that space, draw up a loop and slip to close, chain 2, turn our work and come up in between these singles here of the row. You see the 1, the 2, and the 3. You're going to go in between number 2 and 3. And it's pretty much it. So regardless of how wide your project is, the process is exactly the same. So chain 1, single crochet. So there's 2. Let's go ahead and do the third one there. We're in the valley, so no chain. We're going to hop right onto the other side here. Single crochet, and we pinch it together. That creates the dip. Chain 1, single, chain 1, go into the peak with a single, chain 2, and a single. Chain 1, go into the space with a single, chain 1, go into the next space with a single. We have our 3 singles on the side. Come down here to the other side of this single from the previous row. Pull up a loop and slip to close, chain 2, and turn. So that's pretty much it. This here is the moss stitch chevron. All right, and so I have a completed swatch here with many more rows. And as you can see, the sides come out perfectly flush. Very, very nice. We have our peaks, we have our valley. Very, very nice. So that is it for this stitch tutorial. Feel free to replay this as many times as you need. This is very, very easy and simple, and this does work up very well in many, many different weights of yarns. Okay, so that is it for this one. I shall return with another one in just a moment. Okay, so for the next chevron stitch, we will be working up what's called the Peephole Chevron, and this works up in multiples of 10 plus 3. So to get started, what we need to do is create a slip knot on our hook. However you do this is absolutely fine. This is how I do it. So from here, we will be chaining multiples of 10. For the purposes of this tutorial, I will be chaining 20. So continue chaining multiples of 10 until you get to your desired length. For me, I will be chaining 20. I'll be back in just a moment. Okay, so once you have your multiple of 10, we're going to go ahead and chain 3 more. So 1, 2, and 3. And the 3 chains will count as a double crochet. So from here, we're going to go into the 4th chain from the hook with a double crochet. So we're going to yarn over, go into the chain, draw up a loop, yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, go through 2. We have 2 stitches so far. So we're going to go into the next 3 chains with 1 double crochet in each of the next 3 chains. Yarn over, go in, draw up a loop, yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, go through 2. There are 3 stitches so far. Let's go ahead and do that 2 more times. 1 and 2. So we need to create a valley. So from here, what we need to do is skip the next 2 chains, and we're going to go into the 3rd chain with a double crochet. From here, we're going to go into the next 3 chains with 1 double crochet in each of the next 3 chains. Let's go ahead and do that. 1, 2, and 3. So there is the valley. Let's go ahead and create a peak. So from here, we're going to chain 2, and we're going to go into the next chain with a double crochet. From here, we're going to go into the next 3 chains with 1 double crochet in each chain. There's 1. There's 2. And there's 3. From here, we are going to create a valley. So we're going to skip the next 2 chains and go into the 3rd chain with a double crochet. From here, we're going to go ahead and go into the next 2 chains with 1 double crochet in each of the next 2 chains. We have 3 stitches. And so we have 1 chain left, and in the last chain we need to insert 2 double crochets to finish the row. One and 2. So that concludes the very first row. To start the second row, what we need to do is chain 3, 1, 2, and 3. That will always be the constant. We will always chain 3, and it will always count as a stitch. So from here, we're going to turn our work, and we're going to go into the very first stitch with a double crochet. Now on the ends of our work, regardless of how long it is, there should always be 5 stitches on the ends, and then in the middles of our work, there should only be 4 stitches. So since we're on the end, we have 2 stitches because the chains will always count as a stitch. So there's 2. We need to insert 1 double crochet in the next 3 stitches. Let's go ahead and do that. 1, 2, and 3. So from here, we're going to skip the next 2 stitches, and we're going to go into the 3rd stitch here with a double crochet. So we're creating that valley, just like that. So from here, we need to insert 3 more stitches because we are on the inside of our work. So there's 1. Let's go next door here, insert another double, that's 2. Go next door here to this stitch. Let's insert a double crochet right there. That's 3. And we're going to insert the 4th stitch in the chain space here. So yarn over, go into the chain space, and perform a double crochet just like that. So from here, we're at the peak. So when we are creating a peak, we need to chain 2, and we're going to go into the chain space with a double crochet. There we go. So we are still on the inside of our work, so we only need 4 stitches. There's one right there. So from here, we're going to go into the very first stitch here with a double crochet. So that's 2. Let's go ahead and give the next 2 stitches 1 double crochet each. 1 and 2. Okay. There it is. Perfect. So from here, we're going to once again skip the next 2 stitches and go into the 3rd stitch with a double crochet. We are creating that valley, just like that. And so we're on the end and we need 5 stitches. So we have 1. We're going to go into the next 2 stitches here with 1 double in each of those stitches. 1 there, and then 1 there. Okay, so we have 3. Now what we have left is the chain space. So we're going to go into that chain space and insert 2 double crochets. 1 and 2, just like that. So that concludes the 2nd row. To move on from here, what we need to do is, once again, and as always, chain 3. 1, 2, and 3. Let's turn our work and repeat what we just did at the beginning of row number 2. We're going to go ahead and insert a double crochet in the very first stitch. So we have 2 stitches so far. We need 3 more. So 1 double in the next 3 stitches. 1, 2, and 3 for a total of 5 stitches. We're going to skip the next 2 and go into the 3rd stitch with a double crochet to create that valley. And from here, we're on the interior, the inside of our work. We only need 4 stitches. So there's 1. We're going to insert 1 double in the next 2. And then in the chain space, a double. So let's go ahead and do that. 1, 2, and then in the chain space for the other stitch for a total of 4 stitches. From here, we're going to chain 2 because we are at a peak. And we're going to go back into that chain space with a double crochet. Since we're still on the inside, we only need 4 stitches. So we have 1, I only need 3 more. So in the next 3 stitches, we're going to go ahead and insert 1 double in each of those stitches. 1, 2, and 3. So we're in a valley. We're going to skip the next 2, go into the 3rd stitch with a double. Okay, so we're at the end of our work and we need 5 total stitches. So here's 1. So we're going to go into the next 2 stitches here with 1 double in each of those stitches. It's 2. That's 3. So from here, we're going to go into the chain space with 2 double crochets. And that concludes row number 3. Okay, so that is the repeat for this project here. It is very easy. It's the same regardless of how wide you make your project. I did create a swatch here with many more rows just to give you a bird's eye view of what this actually looks like. It's very soft and squish. The sides are pretty straight and it looks the same on both sides. So feel free to rewind and replay as many times as you need in order for you to get this. This looks very, very nice, worked up in any weight of yarn, any color. Super, super nice. So I hope you enjoyed that tutorial along with the other ones, the moss stitch chevron, as well as the very first one. So that is all for this tutorial. I really hope that you enjoyed it. If you did, please hit the like button. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I have many more tutorials in my Yarn Addict Stitch Academy. And please leave a comment or two. I would definitely appreciate the support. So that is all for this video. And until the next one, take care, friends. Bye.